composing is very subjective. It depends on the composer's aspirations, knowledge, and preference. Not every composer can do all types of music. That is what makes it so interesting. Contemporary music is very rare in this country. The market for it is so niche. However, Associate Professor Dr. Tazul Izan Tajuddin himself couldn't turn down his passion towards music. But happiness doesn't care about being trendy.
I'm a composer, but at the same time, I'm a lecturer. So I've been in the composition area and field for the past since 1990 or earlier. And I've been composing since then. So for the past maybe 30 years. So I have 50 works, more than 50 works. And then performances of the works in about 23 countries. So of course it's not popular music, but it's kind of art music composition, which you have performances at the festival, at the specific venue, concert hall. So that's where the performances are, and since then till now. Music has been my uncle and my auntie. My auntie is teaching music at school. I'm kind of interested what they, especially my uncle, because my uncle play by heart, and he also, in a way, encouraged me to play and to get involved. So in a way that my instruments, maybe piano and keyboard, and then melodian also. So at the early stage, so I'm just playing whatever I hear or I can, So I'm just playing it as, as kids, just playing around. So that's how it started. But then when I found guitar, classical guitar especially, so but guitar in general, and then because I saw my friend playing, and this is quite cool instrument, I took the guitar and I learned to play. So that was between 14, 15 like that. Because of the instrument, I become very serious in music. So from there on, it's a non-stop journey until now. When I started at UiTM before, so 1988, not 98, 88. So it was a 4-year studies, yeah. So I was very serious about music and become formal in music. So in those 4 years time, I learned all type classical, of course pop and rock especially, yeah, because I was involved in band before. So and then traditional, because I play gambos the last 2 years of the study. So I play in the Asli group. So all these three is part of the, I said I have to play all type of music. And then at the end of the study, I involve myself in the choir. So I do arrangement for choir and so on. And then this is where the path of composition started to, not to grow, but because I wanted, there are 3 paths, yeah. One is classical guitar, to be instrumentalist, classical guitar. Second one is to be a choral conductor, because I was involved in the choir kebangsaan for so many years since, and I'm involved in Baroque chorister, perform in Penang, outside of KL and so on, with a group, called Baroque choristers. Because of that, eventually, the scholarship that I trying to get to study overseas, I got it for composition. At the time, I'm okay to do either I do choral conducting, it's okay. If I go classical guitar, solo, okay. But composition is a calling. So I said, okay, this is the path. So I have a selection of works that I sent to the university that they accepted me. I was quite surprised they accepted me. So I went to there. It's a Carnegie Mellon University. At the time, the school is very good for computer science, engineering, but they also have a very good music program. So that's the beginning of the path for composition. Before I left, I went to States. I've been actually listening to a lot of music, including contemporary music. And it's very hard kalau kita compare now, Now you can find YouTube and then you can find, this composer, composers, and then you can listen to it. Before that, this one was 30 years ago or more. This is habit that I have. I will look CDs in the CD shop from A to Z. It's like in the library, I just finished browsing through, and then I will find certain composers that I never heard before, and then I will buy that. Schoenberg or Webern or whatever. That one is even during my study time. So nobody is listening to that. So I said, okay, I will listen to that because nobody is listening to the music. Eventually, when I studied composition at Carnegie Mellon, the exposure is even more. Because in the library, they have a huge collection of music scores, huge collection of CDs. So my time when I studying, spending time listening and looking at the score. From A to Z, I look at the catalog. Okay, this one I done, this one today I've done. And then of course I compose because my Professor Balada, he's Spanish, Catalan, but he already living in the States. And he is my professor. He's still alive. I think he's about 90. Training part, because when I was there, I have to compete also with other students. So I have to make sure that my ideas, my composition, quite contemporary in a way. So because I listened to a lot of composers like Ligeti, Zanakis and so on, even Brian Ferneyhough at the time. So maybe people are not familiar with this type of composers. So I listened to this sonority, which is different. I'm really intrigued with this sonority. That's why when you ask me why I choose contemporary, or art music, is because that I don't want to write something quite conventional. So I want to write something that is classical based but contemporary, because I started listen to the classical music, for example, Tchaikovsky, Chopin, I like Brahms, I listen to all this classical, Baroque, classical, even Romantic period. But then I venture into the more of the 20th century, and I gain more ideas, more techniques of composition techniques during that time, and I develop my own composition following these ideas, contemporary ideas. The challenge is not in UiTM. The challenge is in general, actually outside of UiTM as well. Of course, UiTM is part of the community, but then also we have general communities outside. If the society are not appreciative of art or culture, the society is not going to be interested in the more advanced ideas in arts, in culture. So even in paintings or in any form of arts. When I came back, I thought that things may change in the next 10 years or so, but the changes are very slow. But then what you can do is to create things, to have a kind of a concert festival of the contemporary works, just to get some people interested. Because surprisingly, there are some young generation are interested in this kind of arts or contemporary arts, but they are not exposed to, because there's not a lot of platform that's given. Because we need to have more platform. If you're in London or in Paris, you can explore whatever you want, because the platform of all types of music are there. So you just choose what you want. There will be people. And these are in the advanced countries. So if we want to achieve that, our society has to also grow and very appreciative of arts and music. Actually, when I did my PhD, after US, I went to UK to do my PhD. That stage is a very important stage as a composer, because at the end of the study, I created some kind of certain ways of composition, and that was part of my PhD study. So with this new type of composition that I created, so I sent to a lot of competition. So the first one that I got to the final of Advanced Greek composition competition. So I was quite excited with that, because I'm creating this kind of idea with composition. They put me in the final of it. And then the best part is when I finished my study, then Takemitsu Award. Takemitsu Award is one of the best awards for composition. So and I was the first Malaysian to win the competition. So I won I enter more than 10-20 competition throughout the world, from London base, Lutoslawski Award in Poland, UK Millennium Award. And then in Japan, there are three. One is Takemitsu, one is Japan Society of New Music, and then the other one is Tokyo Chamber Music. So this gives kind of a good confidence, because of I'm competing with composers throughout the world. So European, American, Asians. So then it gives me a kind of overview. What I created or what I composed is kind of being seen by the panel as something different. Sense that idea, and I keep creating something different, something new, and trying to create something original. And the most reflective part is creating something that is connected to my background, because it's very important that when I was in London, when I was in the concert hall, I couldn't see any Malay in the concert hall, or any colored person also. No, very rare. You have like 100 you have full house of that. Maybe you will get 90% is whites. So because of that, I bring my background into my composition, so that reflected to the contemporary music, that are interested in contemporary music. That's where the competition at the time, and how it grows in a way that give me a certain reflection to my composition, and to create something quite unique or different or original. As being an academician or being in the university, there are different roles, because when I was before I came back, I'm quite free. My mind is always exploring different things, and of course that's the idea, that's the focus. I have been there for 15 years and so on, and then these are the one of the things that also attract me in a way, that there's a new composition program, and there's a faculty of music at UiTM. So that composition program in a way is new, that attract me to in a way come back. But that's not the only reason, because I was looking at Aswara, also looking at USM, but ITM or UiTM has this program, a composition program, which is I think the first in Malaysia. just composition, nothing else. So in a way, that is one of the what you call leading, leading the society. That interests me. So that the reason I came back also, and to contribute to this, development of the program and the development of art music and contemporary music as well, along being academician. And then it is very important that to connect, you can do some kind of composition research elements to it, and then you can combine, anything. Like now, in composition, you can combine with technology, with even algorithm, AI or whatever. So you can create that. How far you can go is up to where, what you want to do, and so on. So in a way, as me as a practitioner as well, and then as well as being educator, because now I have to teach students as well. Of course, there are challenges there, because the students not all are interested in art music. The society needs to also embrace and very, very educated about it. So education is one way to develop society, to open the society mind towards something that is more cultural, art, music, and so on. So these are the focus that I was thinking about. And also in terms of the administration, now I'm also part of the administration. The administrative part is also very important. We need people to contribute, practitioners to contribute ideas into the development of the program, development of the faculty. And because of that, then hopefully we can also educate the society, and then also we can be the leader in the field, so that we can educate back to society by creating, innovating, and researching music, art music, contemporary music, and so on. This is something that I always want. I try to relate to, actually, is by practicing music, by also making the music alive, by being either you are the leader or you are the conductor of the music. So if you have contemporary work, and then you try to make it come out alive, this relationship is very important, because I see when I'm conducting, or when I'm trying to create new music out for the first time, I feel okay, the players are the one that will bring this out. So how can I engage, and how can I bring them to play as best as they can during one part of the performance, during that short performance, to project all this music out in a way that this is very important, because then if you're in the administrative as a leader or KP and so on, so you think your warga and so on as a musicians, and the musicians is the one will bring the music out. And in the administrative, you see this, okay, what's the best that they can bring? They can play the best that they can to have this, hopefully the hala tuju and the outcome of what we wanted. So that's the connection, Each individual has to come up with certain ways and certain direction, because again, we individually are very different from one to another, even though we all seems to think we are kind of the same, right? For the young, I think it depends on where, So in the UK, they have a different type of problems, issues, and solution. In Malaysia, we have again different issues, type of problems, and then how we're going to solve it. Yeah. So if we are talking about music or contemporary music and so on, if you look at statistic, maybe in the urban area is the one that people are more interested in more new music or innovation. Then again, for young generation, there are possibilities of connecting their ideas and then to the world through the internet, through this one accessibility of, like when I said YouTube before doesn't exist, but they do exist now, and I'm listening to YouTube for contemporary music. So if young generation are very interested to go into this direction, but again, and now maybe the situation might be different, so the young has to engage and solve the problem of now. But whatever it is, what is important is that the technology that we have now, with like YouTube and so on, and interconnecting with others that is outside of our zone, is in a way is a very positive thing. If the younger generation can shift through these massive data of information that we have now. So if the younger generation can shift this information and trying to get the best quality of information, because as you know, the information is so massive, you can just choose one information and you just go to that direction, and that's it. You never come back or something like that. But when you can shift the information in a way that you analyze it, you have a certain type of philosophical ideas with it, your philosophical idea, and you shift through this data, this information, and you find these good things and connection that you can bring out and innovate. So for the young, these are one good positive thing that we have now, technology, massive social media and so on, but there can be a negative aspects of it. The other thing is, as us, the ecosystem that we have to develop, because if we don't develop this ecosystem of cultural ecosystem, then we will always at the same level all the time, because we don't increase this ecosystem to create a better society, to create the more better thinking society, more advanced society, because we will be at the same level. In the UK, there's no problem. They have this very good ecosystem with the arts and so on. So you can see the old generation, the established one, and the young one. They have this kind of ecosystem going on in place already. But we have to create this in place ecosystem and create this ecosystem so that the younger generation can grow and benefit. And then at the same time, we as the older generation can also contribute by giving a new platform and creating this good flowing ecosystem. But this one we have to create and develop. The continuation, the third part is actually besides creating the system, we have to create a lot of platform for new generation to create, to recreate, to innovate new ideas, and this has to be developed, because if we don't give platform or create new platform to the younger generation, so we will be not going to have a lot of new ideas coming in. So, and if there is new ideas from the younger generation, we don't see it, because we don't know whether how can they show it to us without any platform. So that is the third one for this kind of to give the idea to younger generation. Well, some people say that we have to sweat 80-90%, and then 10-20% is inspiration. In a way, yes. I mean, you have to work towards what you want to get, and make sure that you engage with and you have the objective. But of course, you have to work towards it. And then, of course, the inspiration moment is not the 90% inspiration. So then nothing is going to much done, But at the same time, I was this one is old quote, Beethoven say this, or even Einstein, But it is important to engage also with the moment for the younger generation, because the world is changing quite differently and rapidly in a way. Even the last 30 years is different from last time and now. But at the same time, the base of humanity should be more or less the same, because we don't want, we are in a way outside of the aspect of humanity. We no longer become human and so on. We just become a robot or just a follower and things like that without any thinking. So this is, I think, is very, very, very important to have this, moving forward, especially with the younger generation. And the flexibility is very important. With the changes of world technology and so on, we have to adapt and engage to it. But at the same time, working towards certain things is very, very important to achieve certain goal. Of course, the inspiration to inspire, and also at the same time to innovate continuously, to innovate ourselves so that we become, always moving forward in a way.